Hi, this is Matt Nixon with StudioMMA.com, and today we're talking with Cyrille Diabaté, UFC fighter. Cyrille, thanks for taking the time to talk to us
No
today.
problem.
So we're in Team Quest in Temecula right now, and you're originally from France. So what brings you out to Team Quest? What kind of affiliation and background do you have here with this gym?
Well, our relationship started a couple of years back, I think 4 or 5 years ago, when Dan was getting ready for Anderson Silva. And, he needed a tall, lanky striker, southpaw, to be able to train for, Anderson Silva and kind of get ready for his upcoming fight. So they flew me in, and they liked the way I taught as a Muay Thai coach, and so I've been going back and forth ever since, teaching classes, teaching the pro classes, and it's been a while since I've been back actually. But it's always good to see my buddies from Team Quest.
So do you have a lot of friends here now? I mean, and what's your relationship with Dan and everything?
Yeah, I think Heath Sims and Poncho, Ricardo Feliciano, and Dan Henderson have become friends over the years, and we're always checking on each other and sending messages, and seeing what's up. And every time I go to Cali, I come by and say hello. So yeah, they're good friends.
Now, you have your own gym in France, Snake Team, is that correct?
Yep, Snake Team, just outside of Paris.
Nice. And can you tell us a little bit about the gym there and the guys you have on your team?
I've had the Snake Team for like 12 years now. We've changed locations a couple of times. We've basically been doing MMA. We started off Muay Thai and MMA. Now we're only doing concentrating on MMA. We have a couple of guys, up and comers. 4 of them are signed with M1 Global and are fighting in Russia pretty often. Guys like Xavier, Professor X, that's been twice in the UFC. Gregory Babin, aka Blade. A lot of guys, up and comers that probably you guys will probably see in the US at one point. It's a good set of people, good team to train with. Guys are hungry, of course. With the context in France and MMA still being illegal, it's a bit harder for us to get exposure, and get our name out there. But still, we try hard. We're passionate about what we do, and we are strong-willed. So eventually, I think it'll pay off.
Absolutely. So you're going to be on the first card in Sweden with the UFC. Tell me your thoughts about being on that card.
I think every time the UFC comes to Europe, in a country it's never been before, it's a big event, So for all the MMA fighters are looking forward to see new talent emerge, and we'll probably see a couple of Swedish guys we've never seen before that are gonna surprise a lot of people. I think right now we're at that point in Europe where we have the talent. We just need big shows like the UFC to come and give us a chance, basically. So I'm looking forward for the first UFC Paris. I don't know where when it's going to be, but I'm pretty sure Dana and the guys from the UFC are doing what they can to make it possible.
Now, you're fighting a Swedish fighter, Jorgen Krut. He's an accomplished kickboxer. Can you tell me about your opponent and how you're preparing for him?
I've seen Jorgen Krut fight on the K1 shows and Muay Thai shows for quite some time now. It's always been a pleasure watching him fight. I think he's one of the more technical heavyweights out there. His Muay Thai is definitely world class. He's been a world champ a couple of times, so I'm not taking this fight lightly at all. Everybody rates my stand-up, and I think I've proved in the UFC that I'm a dangerous striker. My opponent's going to be a dangerous fighter as well, so I think it's going to be a stand-up war, but I'm pretty sure we're going to mix it up, and it's going to be a MMA fight rather than a K1 type fight. So I've been working on everything, every aspect of the MMA game. You know, my wrestling, my grappling, everything. So and I'm pretty sure he's done that too. So people are expecting a kickboxing fight. I think we're gonna give fans a MMA fight.
A moment ago, you were speaking about MMA in France, and you were talking about how it's not currently legal there. How would you describe for people in the U.S. or anywhere else that have never been there, what is the kind of atmosphere like there? And not just the people outside of MMA, but the people inside MMA. How would you describe that?
Well, it's politics, you know. Before MMA being legal all over the U.S., you know, you had different people that were against it. You know, in France, it's more of a big martial arts community like karate and judo that don't want MMA in France because they know that MMA is the future, and eventually, you know, they'll be losing fighters that will want to go to MMA for various reasons. I think you know, once it's legal in France, MMA is going to do a lot of good for all the martial arts and combat sports. You know, a lot of the guys will come from judo and karate and maybe taekwondo and all those big federations we have in France. But eventually, it's going to be more people joining in every martial arts club. So I think they're seeing us as an enemy, but you know they're getting it wrong. You know, I think MMA, once it's legal in France, it's going to be a martial arts in general is going to go and explode in numbers. So I'm looking forward to that.
So is it only a matter of time, do you think, for it to be legalized, or is there anything specific that needs to change for it to become legal?
A bit of both. I'm pretty sure it's going to be legalized, and I'm hoping soon. I know the UFC is really pushing for MMA to be legalized. I think what it comes down to is the way it works in France. We need a federation that will sanction the sport of MMA. And in order to have that, we need the right people in place and the competent people in place, and maybe a little more positive publicity around the sport. So it's only a matter of time. You know, we've had the same problems with Muay Thai in the past, and even before that, you know, kickboxing and karate and judo. So, and all those sports were legalized and have been part of the, you know, martial arts history in France for some time now. So it's only a question of time before MMA is legalized and we have the UFC in Paris.
What would it mean to you to be on the first UFC card in France?
Well, you know, I'm getting old. I'm looking at retiring as soon as I get a couple of nice big wins under my belt, and I know I'm a stubborn guy, and I won't do that until I actually fight in my own country. So you guys had better, you know, make that possible quickly. I don't want to be in the octagon at the age of 55.
So if people want to follow you on Twitter or Facebook, how can they reach you?
Pretty simple. Facebook.com/Cyrille Diabaté, my name, and on Twitter I am the Snake197. So you guys are more than welcome to join and see what's going on in the French MMA world.
Absolutely. Well, Cyrille, thank you for the time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
And we'll be tuning in to watch your fight soon in Sweden.
Okay.
This is Matt Nixon signing off with StudioMMA.com.